capitalist system to the ground! Anarchy! Anarchy!
We will no longer be held down by the technology that has enslaved us! Anarchy!
No more laws! No more rules! We can live off the land as mankind was always meant to!
We can go see movies for free now! Anarchy!
Anarchy!
Excuse me, hi. Barry Windsor. Just one quick thing. See, I used to work at the nuclear power plant up nearby the airport, and, you know, not to be a downer or anything, but we're gonna have to keep a pretty close eye on that thing. So, there's that.
We don't need nuclear energy anymore! Anarchy!
Anarchy! No, I'm all for that. Hey, revolution and all. I mean, that's great. But the thing is if we don't keep cool water running over the spent plutonium rods, there's gonna be a meltdown, and that'll pretty much end life.
Okay, well, how often do we have to do that?
Oh, I'd say about 3 to 4 times a day over the next 25 years.
What? Okay, all right, so we'll just work together on this, and we'll take turns pouring water on the plutonium rods.
No! No work! Free movies! Well, I mean, no one knows how to work the power plant, and he does. I mean, I'd just be afraid to screw something up with all the computers and all, and I'm sure there's a password or something.
Well, the password is just welcome.
Make him do it!
Okay, all right. Well, since you have the most experience with this sort of thing, would you mind just taking one for the team and kind of staying on top of that?
Yeah, no, I'll do it. I mean, I don't mind, but it doesn't really seem fair. I mean, if I'm going to be spending all my time up at the reactor, then how am I going to scavenge and farm the land to provide food for my family?
Okay, all right. I'm sure we can all agree that it's not a big deal to chip in, give him a little bit of our food in return for him saving our lives at the reactor plant.
I guess.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. That's really big of you. But the other thing is that it's not a one-man job, okay? I'm gonna need a team of people, all right? So, and I can ask my guys, and I'm sure they'll do it, but they're gonna need some food, too.
Okay, so if you see his team, help him out and give him a little food, too. I think that's only fair.
Well, how will we know who's on his team and who's not? I mean, anyone could just come up and say, hey, I work with Dick Nose up at the power plant. Give me a food. Hey!
Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll make some shirts for him and his team that say, I work at the nuclear power plant. Please give me some of your food. So if you see somebody wearing a shirt that says that, be a nice guy.
Who's gonna make the shirts?
I don't know who's gonna make the shirts. Rodney, will you make the shirts?
Sorry, but I'm probably going to be at the movie theaters most of the time.
Daryl, will you make the shirts?
Fine.
Okay.
But I'm gonna need some food, too.
Okay, fine. Then just make yourself a shirt that says, I made this shirt, please give me some of your food, and then everyone will give you some food.
Well, what's to stop anyone from just making a shirt that says, hey, I do something stupid. Feed my ass for it.
Okay, I will be a shirt inspector, and I'll go around and I'll make sure everybody's shirts are legit. Is that okay? So will you make me a shirt that says shirt inspector, please?
That guy sounds like a cop.
No, I'm not a cop. I'm just an inspector.
He's a cop! Let's get him!
A new age is upon us. We won't let the man hijack our revolution. Forget everything that guy said.
Wait, forget everything that guy said?
Yeah!
Okay, well, my name's Barry, and I used to work at a nuclear power plant up north.
This is Dan Dix here reporting for Press for Truth, and the clip that you just saw was from a comedy team from around 10 years ago, I believe it was. They were called The Whitest Kids You Know, and that was their depiction of a leftist mob attempting to form their own society, attempting to come up with their own system of governance, and it slowly descends into them becoming every single thing they are allegedly against. And I was reminded of that clip when I saw the news of the recent Chaz protests, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or what is now being referred to as CHOP, the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest. So in this video, we're going to look at some of the examples of how these people are becoming everything they claim to be against. Like here, where we see they're putting up various barricades to keep people out. They're not allowing press in. They're checking the ID of various people coming into the zone. They're acting in ways that just 2 weeks ago, they would have called others being racist for doing so. We'll look at the fact that they have just pinned down a street preacher as he was screaming, "You are choking me," because they didn't like his message, they made the decision to pin him down and choke him, all of a sudden forgetting about the whole "I can't breathe" thing, where this all kind of stems from. We're also going to see they're tearing down small businesses. One man had his business set on fire. He was trying to stop these things from happening in this no-cop zone, and they essentially attacked him for it. We now see they're calling for a tax on white people, as this guy here suggests that every white person in the crowd should give $10 to a person of color before they leave this evening. And finally, of course, we see that Antifa mob is now planning to take over more Seattle neighborhoods. So it does not look like this is going to be slowing down anytime soon. So in this video, we're going to talk about how and where these guys are going wrong, and most importantly, who the real enemy is, so we can get back on track and back on focus about how to bring about real change, ladies and gentlemen. But before we go into that, I'd remind you to check out this Go Get Funding campaign here. Not GoFundMe, Go Get Funding, because as you may recall, last week I was assaulted and then arrested by the Vancouver Police Department, and then I was financially attacked afterwards because I set up this GoFundMe campaign, which is being terminated by the company, and they took all the funds back, refunding them to their donors. So I set up this Go Get Funding campaign to try to get back the $7,000 that was raised on GoFundMe. So if that's something that you would like to support, please check the links in the description below to find out how you can contribute to this Go Get Funding campaign. All right, so as I said, today we're going to be talking about this Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone protest, or the Occupied protest, which has just come about over the last few days. Guys, if you're just hearing about this for the first time, let me show you the Wikipedia article on this. Now, granted, this is Wikipedia. You have to take it with a grain of salt. As it says here, this article documents a current event. Information may change rapidly as the event progresses, and initial news reports may be unreliable. The latest updates to this article may not reflect the most current information. So again, take this with a grain of salt, as you should with every Wikipedia article. But as of today, it says the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, or Chaz, or the Capitol Hill Occupied Protest, also known as Free Capitol Hill, is an occupied protest and a self-declared autonomous zone in the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Seattle, Washington. The zone, covering approximately 6 city blocks and a park, was established on June 8, 2020 by George Floyd protesters after the Seattle Police Department vacated its East Precinct building at Capitol Hill. Local governance in the zone is decentralized, with the goal of creating a neighborhood without police. Purported demands associated with the zone include rent control, the reversal of gentrification, the abolition or defunding of police, funding of community health, and releasing prisoners serving time for marijuana-related offenses or resisting arrest with expungement of their records. Reaction to the zones have varied through the political spectrum. President Donald Trump referred to the occupants as ugly anarchists and called for the governor of Washington and the mayor of Seattle to take back the zone, while Mayor Jenny Durkin on June 11th described the zone as 4 blocks in Seattle that is more like a block party atmosphere, she said. It's not an armed takeover. It's not a military junta. We will make sure that we will restore this, but we have block parties and the like in this part of Seattle all the time. There is no threat right now to the public, says the mayor of Seattle. On June 14th, USA Today confirmed the festive atmosphere, reporting that protesters who had previously clashed with police have had their rough edges dulled by tens of thousands of tourists and sightseers. Chaz has morphed into what looks and feels more like a mini Burning Man festival, and indeed it has. So we're going to take a quick look at this article from Zero Hedge, a tip for the Chaz Republic. Maybe you should start thinking a little more like conservatives. And as the article here goes into, it says here, if you want to know what a society based on narcopathy actually looks like, well, that's easy. Just look at the communist movements in Stalinist Russia or Mao's China, Or how about the social justice crucibles within Facebook and Twitter? And let's not forget the latest narcopathic experiment in the Chaz Republic Autonomous Region in Seattle. The mainstream media would have you believe that Chaz is a burgeoning progressive utopia where people live in harmony and free from the police. However, it did not take long before the self-sustaining SJW nation of Chaz became a laughingstock among web denizens who have been tracking their bumbling exploits with equal parts glee and horror. When your society is immediately taken over by low-budget, weak-talent rappers, warlords, when you run out of food and have to order Domino's pizza delivered to your southern border daily, and its citizens beg you for soy-voiced vegan products to be donated. Yeah, you know things are not exactly going all that well. Here's a clip of the pizza delivery. Domino's coming in to deliver pizza.
Like 10 boxes. So that's straight
They
up.
bring it right to the border zone. Occupiers and Chaz are ordering Domino's pizza. The delivery girl is seen here weaving through the barricades. I can confirm she successfully delivered the pies to what appeared to be the community organizers. A man on a loudspeaker could be heard excited about the fresh pizza. And then there were people who are attacked by the mob for unauthorized graffiti on the wrong turf. After that mob already tore up the neighborhood, there's certainly room for improvement. There are already some amazing hypocrisies flowing from Chaz, including the fact that protesters quickly placed barriers and fencing all around the 6-block area to keep people they don't like out. Apparently, Antifa and BLM are now proud advocates of building walls. Here we can see it. Here they are, building the barricades, building the walls. As it says, debates continue to rage within the Chaz or whatever about what to do with cops. Earlier today, a squadron of bike cops rolled through the barricades to re-enter the precinct. The barricades are being reinforced, but without any dedication, plan, or action that may not matter. So, again, as the article says, not long ago, it was totally racist to build up walls and hold out people that you don't like coming in, and now it's the progressive thing to do. But two of my favorite examples have happened in the last couple of days, including the man who slipped into Chaz and started preaching biblical verses at them on the street. This incident should tell you half of what you need to know about the social justice cult. The man was immediately set upon by the crowd of angry leftists. He had his life threatened. He was attacked, robbed of his phone, and beaten. In the video of attack, you can clearly see one of the Chaz citizens trying to put the man in a chokehold. He says, "I can't breathe," was now, I guess, just a temporary motto. And here's the video, guys. Street preacher being choked out, screaming, "You're choking me, you're choking me," as they blatantly show the hypocrisy as they choke this man and drag him out of there because they don't agree with, his opinion? It's just like the article says. What's so interesting about this is that the preacher was doing to them exactly what they do to others. Getting in their faces, arguing about a message or belief, refusing to leave even though no one wants him there, and their reaction was to silence the man using violence. The puritanical fraud of Antifa and BLM has never been more obvious. When your mob resides in the media and on Twitter, you can use cancel culture to terrorize people into silence. But in the real world, that stuff is meaningless. And so in order to deal with persistent people, you can either have to let them speak or use force. And that's exactly what they did on this poor man. As we see, they are also using force here. A huge mob just attacked a small tender business, demanding a release of a man who went into the business and started a fire. The business is located inside the 6 blocks of the Chaz no cop zone. So here, all kinds of chaotic scenes coming out of this so-called autonomous zone. These guys tearing down the barricades put up by this small business owner, trying to protect what he has left of his business. And
we're reporting live. This is George Ventura. They're breaking
they tear it down.
business.
It's just absolutely disgusting. And as I said, This one tops the cake for me. I mean, this is just unreal that we are at this stage in society. Get a load of this guy here. Listen to what he has to say.
I want you to find by the time you leave this autonomous zone, I want you to give $10 to one African American person from this autonomous zone. And if you find that's difficult, if you find it's hard for you to give $10 to people of color, to black people especially, you have to think really critically about in the future, are you going to actually give up power and land and capital when you have it?
This guy is saying if you don't give $10 to a person of color beside you before you leave this evening, then you are essentially a part of the problem and you will be moving forward in the future. Guys, this is absolutely unbelievable that this is happening right now. And you know, it's interesting that mainstream media largely to a large extent is not talking about this. You're not going to hear about these things very much coming from the mainstream media, only in ways that are going to completely twist the story. But we're trying to bring you as much truthful information as we can here today to try to break through the propaganda, because as this article goes on to say, they're not planning on slowing down anytime soon. They're looking to take over more Seattle neighborhoods. Following the surrender of the East Precinct of the Seattle Police Department to an Antifa mob and the occupation of Seattle City Hall, a source on the ground in Seattle says that other police precincts around the city are preparing to be the next targets. Regarding the autonomous zone established by the Antifa-led mob, the source, whose anonymity we are protecting, says they bar media from entering and they screen people coming in. They're walking around fully armed, talking about making their own currency and making their own flag. SPD is talking about abandoning the West Precinct now. So again, guys, this is only going to continue here in a massive way. And I got to say, it's unfortunate that these incredibly misguided people are steering things in a direction that is not going to benefit them whatsoever, but is really only going to work to further enslave them in the long run. Because this, very much like the Occupy movement, has it all wrong. It's not about the 1% versus the 99%. It's about the 0.001% versus everyone else, ladies and gentlemen. It's the international banksters, as I call them, who lend money to countries at interest out of thin air, money that is created out of thin air that you have to pay interest back on, is the reason to a large extent why society is descending into the absolute chaos that it is. So we can't continue to fight one another and try to police one another in this way. We have to keep the focus on who the real enemy is at the top of this pyramidal structure of control. It's the 0.001% who we have to be after, guys. Not each other, not the police per se, not small business owners who are just trying to, make a living. That's not who the enemy is in all of this, guys. Not these guys, not this, not the police. It's the international banksters. So again, I thought it was kind of funny to start this video with that Whitest Kids You Know clip because they're not so far off in that comedic display of what we are currently seeing in society today. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention today, guys, that these protesters are becoming everything they are allegedly against, but that's largely because they're just kind of misguided kids, a lot of them, who have learned about the ills of capitalism from their leftist mob teachers who underwent a cultural Marxist revolution through the education system, who are now permeating their ideas throughout society, and these uneducated, misguided kids are going out there and going about this in the wrong way. Guys, if we really want to change society and move society in a direction that's going to benefit us, we have to maintain that focus on who the real enemy is. The puppet string pullers, the powers that ought not to be, as I call them, are the international banksters, again, who have the ability to put entire nations under debt by creating money out of thin air and loaning that money at interest. That is the real enemy. We must keep our focus on that and remove ourselves, decentralize ourselves from that system if we actually want to progress moving forward, guys. So please, if you agree, please click the thumbs up button, share this video. This Chaz chop protest is certainly showing no signs of slowing down. I like the idea, but again, it's being coerced or just sent off into a misguided direction, perhaps on purpose, in a way to steer society into a direction that's not going to benefit them, but will only benefit, once again, the puppet string pullers. So we have to maintain the focus on who the real enemy is, guys. If you agree, please click the thumbs up button, share this video, and that's all for today. I want to remind you to please check the links in the description to find out how you can support our efforts here at Press for Truth to bring you this information. And that's all for today, my friends. Once again, I want to thank you for watching. Stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.